Hi there. Today's demonstration, I'm going to show you how to use one of my blank bezels using polymer clay. And here I've put together a couple of examples showing you different ways to use the different shapes that I offer and different ways to put them together. Alrighty, so these are some of the components that I'm going to use for the blank bezel for the polymer clay. I like using the Primo polymer clay. It's nice and smooth and it doesn't dry out as quickly as some of the others. And the bakeable transfer medium is the glue that I'll be using. And I'm just going to brush it on with that little brush. Here's the blank bezel. And what I like to do before I brush on my bakeable medium is I just tore off a little piece of the clay, and you don't really need any fancy material or anything like that. And I'm just going to ball it up, my hot little hands. It's a little bit of a guessing game. The bigger your ball of clay, the more of a dome you're going to have over your bezel. So I'm going to try this piece here, and this is just a sample, and I'm just going to press it in. And just with your fingers, you're manipulating the clay towards the edges. I just push it out. I'm pushing it out, and it's okay if it goes over. See how it's gone over? And now I'm just going to push it back in with my fingertips and kind of smooth it out. So I clean up the edges. And I'm pressing down. See how I'm working the edges? Now you can always take a toothpick if you want, or any other sharp tool, and clean up the edges too, if you think that they might look a little rough. So I'm just going to smooth it out with my finger, and I'm real happy with that. It's kind of flat. If I wanted it to be raised, I would just add, take it out and add more clay. So I'm happy with that. I'm just going to pull that out. And I'm going to re-roll that ball up again. And I'll keep that shape in mind, and I'll make several other pieces just like that, so I don't have to start and stop over again. And now I'm ready with that size ball that I want to use. And I would brush in a small amount of the bakeable medium, put that clay piece back in there, and press it out like I just did before, and you're all ready to go. All right, now here's a few more examples of how you can use the clay. On this one right here, what I did is I just rolled up some ochre colored clay and pushed it in there, and then as to score it, to give it some texture, I used a straw and a toothpick and a knife. That's all. You could use lace. Anything that you want to make an impression on the clay is fine. And you'll put it right in on your index card and bake it at the 275 for the 15 minutes. And when it comes out, it's going to be the tan color. And to give it some definition, I took some brown acrylic paint and I brushed it over, once the button was cool. I brushed the brown paint over it and quickly wiped it off with a paper towel, and what was left was all the brown paint and all the cracks, and it gives it a really nice antique look. And then on the moon, I just took a round cutter and made a moon shape, and I had a little CZ So to put that CZ in there, I took a little toothpick to make a hole, and I pushed that CZ right in there and baked it the same, at the 275 for 15 minutes. And then on the heart, what I did is I rolled out some black clay, and then I used some brown and some silver and some gold and some of the ochre and made a little pattern, pressed it right into the clay and rolled it out. And then I took my heart and I pushed it into the clay and tore the edges around and smoothed it out to give it that interesting look and baked it. Matter of fact, I put all those pieces together and baked them all at the same time. And then when they came out and everything was cooled off, I added the paint on that one button and I let that dry. And then I went ahead and used the Sculpey glaze and brushed that on. And I gave this one 2 coats because I really wanted a nice shiny look. And here is an example of the ochre button and a design. Isn't that cool? So now you can use and make, how we always get tired of using the same old closures. Now you can design buttons galore to use as your closure using the noose that you saw in another demonstration, and start creating your own wearable art. So here are a couple of examples of using the polymer clay. In the one goddess toggled bracelet, I used nails that I got at Home Depot that I trimmed, and in the center there, those were studs that I got that you just at a fabric store, same studs you use when you stud jeans and jackets and things like that. And of course that's one of my bead sets, and you should be able to find several of the items on the website. Have fun!